Alright, so day 4 of the Olympics football tournament, the second group stage games of the women's side of the draw are all taking place tomorrow, possibly today by the time you actually watch this. 6 matches are taking place, so all 12 teams are involved. Let's get into what I think is going to happen and who is likely to qualify for the quarterfinals. So we'll do this in the order that the games are being played. So there are 2 matches kicking off at 4 PM UK time, 5 PM local time in France. Those are New Zealand against Colombia and Brazil against Japan. So New Zealand very controversially lost in their opening match against Canada. Canada have of course already been punished. I will get into the finer details of what that means for them really when they come up later in the preview. But obviously they're coming up against Colombia. Colombia losing very narrowly against France. I mean, they were on a hiding to nothing for a while in that one, but they did come back to make it 3-2 in a more respectable scoreline. New Zealand themselves only losing by the odd goal as well, but honestly, I think Colombia are going to do it in this one. I think Colombia are going to win this one. I'm going to go for it being another entertaining game. I'm going to go for a 3-2 victory for Colombia, and I will get into what that means for Group A very shortly. For Brazil and Japan, so Brazil narrowly won against Nigeria in their opening match. Japan narrowly lost against Spain in their opening match. Spain are obviously a better team than Nigeria, so who's going to come out on top in this one? Well, I'm gonna back Brazil, but I'm going to back it to be a narrow one. My favourite scoreline, guys. Say it with me. 2-1. Next up, we have Spain against Nigeria kicking off at 6 PM UK time, 7 PM local time, and Australia against Zambia in the other game, kicking off at the same time. Spain, obviously, yeah, world champions, very good indeed. Obviously getting a win first time out against Japan too. Nigeria, you know, they didn't disgrace themselves at all coming up against Brazil. I would back Nigeria to put up a good fight, but I still think they're going to come up short in this one. I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory for Spain, and that will see them through to the knockout stages. Australia against Zambia. Now Zambia, you know, I had someone in my comments say that, you know, Zambia are going to surprise a few people. Unfortunately, so far they have not done so. They come up against Australia though. Australia losing 3-0 themselves in their opening match against Germany. What do I think is going to happen with this one? Well, I'm going to go with a 2-1 victory to Australia, a narrow victory for Australia. But you know, Zambia, I can see them making a surprise in this one for sure. Maybe this guy was right. Maybe this guy's talking about the second game rather than the first. So we'll see what happens with that. Next up, the final group games of this day. 8 PM kickoff time in the UK and 9 PM kickoff time in France. It's the USA against Germany, an absolute titan heavyweight clash here. I'm going to go for a draw with this one. I don't think either side are really going to properly go for it. A draw definitely suits both sides in fairness as well, with 1 game still to go, and of course potentially the top 3 in that group qualifying. So I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw in that. Next up we have France against Canada. Canada definitely with a cloud over them despite winning their opening games. They are on -3 points, and I've gone into detail with a video about why they have that. I mean, it's basically because they were caught cheating. That's literally the reason. They were caught cheating, watching New Zealand's training session illegally with a drone in the sky. But the long and short of it is their manager and their assistant manager and their analyst have all been banned from footballing activity for a year, and they have also been docked 6 points in this Olympic campaign. So they're currently on -3. They can still go through. It is possible to go through, but realistically they have to win both of their games. I don't see them doing that, especially against France. France were good against Colombia. They were defensively weak in the last stages, but they saw it through to get a win in the end, and that's what matters. So I'm going to go with a France victory without their manager, without their assistant manager, and without their analyst, and without a drone to spy on the French team. I think Canada are definitely going to struggle in this one. I'm going to go with a 2-0 victory for the hosts and France to advance with that. Well, that's a nice rhyme, isn't it? France to advance. But yeah, so those are my predictions, guys. Let us know yours in the comments below. Who's going through to the quarterfinals, and who do you think is going to win the tournament overall on the women's side of things? For me, like I said at the start, Spain and France definitely the favourites for me, but of course the USA, Germany, none of those people can be ignored either, so we'll see what happens with this one. And of course keep it tuned to thefootballchronicle.com to see much more content like this, where we'll also be reviewing these games and previewing the final matches of the group stages as well for both the men and the women's side of the draw.